दोस्तों आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे टॉप 5 लेसन्स व्हिच आई हैव लर्नड बाय रीडिंग द बुक वन अप ऑन वॉल स्ट्रीट रिटन बाय पीटर लिंच। वैसे तो उस बुक में बहुत सारे लेसन्स है बट आज 5 लेसन्स कवर करते हैं जो मुझे उम्मीद है आपके लिए भी यूजफुल होगा। पीटर लिंच एक बहुत बड़े एंड सक्सेसफुल इन्वेस्टर है। ही वाज वर्किंग एज अ फंड मैनेजर इन फिडेलिटी मैजेलन फंड। उन्होंने वहां पे 13 इयर्स काम किया है एज अ फंड मैनेजर एंड रिटायर्ड एट द एज ऑफ 46। उनके टेन्योर में उन्होंने एवरेज रिटर्न कमाया है अराउंड 29.2%। दोस्तों स्टॉक मार्केट में 29.2% कमाना इज नॉट अ इजी थिंग एंड दैट टू फॉर 13 इयर्स। अगर आप रूल ऑफ 72 अप्लाई करोगे देन हर 2.5 साल में इन्वेस्टर्स का अमाउंट डबल हो रहा था। उनके टेन्योर में एसेट अंडर मैनेजमेंट वाज $20 million व्हिच एंडेड अप बीइंग $14 billion व्हिच इज ह्यूज एंड मैसिव। बोला जाता है कि हर 100 में से एक अमेरिकन उस टाइम में वो इन्वेस्ट करके रखे थे जब पीटर लिंच फंड मैनेज कर रहे थे।
Peter Lynch is near the top of anyone's list of great investors. In the 13 years he ran the Fidelity Magellan Fund, he racked up annual average returns of 29.2%.
People understand there's a 100% correlation with what happens to a company's earnings over several years and what happens to the stock. If the company, McDonald's, has done very well as a company,
right,
the stock has done very well. People worry about too much money supply, what's happened to the price of oil, whether, who's the president, who's being nominated for the Supreme Court,
it's all
the
earnings.
ozone layer. It has nothing to do. McDonald's earnings go up the next 10 years, the stock will go.
When should you sell?
Well, you ought to find out why you bought a stock. If you're saying if it's a cyclical company and they're doing poorly and they're doing awful, you wait till things are getting better and they're doing terrific and then you sell it. But with a growth company, you have to say, Walmart's case, 10 years after they went public, you could have bought the stock and made 500 times your money. Because they still are only in 15% of the United States. And they could say, why can't they go to 17? Why can't they go to 19? Why can't they go to 23? So for the next 4 decades, they went around the country. So you have to say to yourself, in this stock, I have a 10-year story, a 20-year story. You ought to be able to write that down and follow that. That's what I do with the company. And that's your decision. That's how you sell it.
इस बुक में मेरे हिसाब से पीटर लिंच हैज ट्राइड टू एम्फसाइज ऑन 3 key points. One is to give confidence to the small investors that they do not need professionals' help for stock market investing. Second is how a small investor can invest by just observing things which is happening around him. Third is things which he should not do to become successful in the stock market investment journey. दोस्तों ये book almost 300 pages का है and I will highly recommend you to read it if you are interested to getting into the stock market. चलिए अब top 5 lessons जानते हैं उस book में से. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट लेसन ये है कि वी शुड स्टॉप लिसनिंग टू द प्रोफेशनल्स। पीटर लिंच जो एक खुद प्रोफेशनल है उन्होंने बोला है कि इफ यू वांट टू गेट सक्सेसफुल इन द स्टॉक मार्केट वी नीड टू स्टॉप लिसनिंग टू द प्रोफेशनल्स। उन्होंने ये बोला है कि इवन अ एवरेज ह्यूमन हु जस्ट यूजेस 3% ऑफ हिज ब्रेन can do as well as an average Wall Street analyst.
I frankly think it's a tragedy in America that the small investor has been convinced by the media, the print media, the radio, the television media, that they don't have a chance, that they don't, the big institutions with all their computers and all their degrees and all their money have all the edges, and it just isn't true at all. And when they're convinced, when this happens, when this occurs, people act accordingly. When they believe it, they buy stocks for a week, and they buy options, and they buy the Chile fund this week, and next week it's the Argentina fund, and they get results proportionate to that kind of investing. And that's very bothersome. I think the public can do extremely well in the stock market on their own.
उन्होंने एक बढ़िया लाइन बोला था इस बुक में, दिस इज इन्वेस्टिंग वेयर द स्मार्ट मनी इजंट सो स्मार्ट एंड द डम मनी इजंट सो डम एज इट थिंक्स. डम मनी इज ओनली डम व्हेन इट लिसन्स टू द स्मार्ट मनी. दोस्तों ये अप्रोच मुझे तो बहुत हेल्प किया है इन द इन्वेस्टिंग जर्नी. जब आप एक बार इन्वेस्टिंग जर्नी में चले जाते हो आपको डिटरमाइंड होना चाहिए कि यू विल नॉट लिसन टू व्हाट द प्रोफेशनल्स आर सेइंग एंड यू नीड टू टेक द स्टॉक पिकिंग कॉल बाय योरसेल्फ. You need to find it out whether the stock is really worth it or not. So you need to ignore whatever the smart money is saying. You need to ignore all the hot tips which he is giving in the market. You need to ignore all the buy and sell recommendations which is provided by the brokerage houses. यहाँ पे पीटर लिंच ने 3 reasons दिया है why we need to ignore the smart money. Number 1 reason ये है कि the professional can also be wrong in picking the stock. Second reason ये है कि even if he is right, you don't know when he will change his mind. Third reason ये है कि we have better sources than what professional has in the stock picking skills. उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि common knowledge can help you a lot in generating new ideas for stock market investing, whereas sophisticated and high level gossips has never helped him to get any good investment ideas. He has always got from the common knowledge which he has.
People have natural advantages.
Yeah.
Let's say what you do for a living is you're involved in the restaurant industry.
Right.
You supply paper products. You supply kitchen equipment. You help build restaurants.
Right.
You saw McDonald's. You saw Chi-Chi's. You saw Chili's. You saw Cracker Barrel. You saw Dunkin' Donuts, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell.
These are all success stories.
These were 40-fold. You made 40 or 50 times your money. You don't need to make that kind of money many times in your life, right?
Yeah, no.
That's all you had to do was follow the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
People are in industries. They're in the publishing industry. They're in the chemical industry, the paper. Why don't they just stay with that industry? You only need a few stocks a decade. How many good stocks do you need in a lifetime? Instead of people that are in the restaurant industry, they're buying biotechnology stocks.
Right.
The people in the chemical
And they know
industry
nothing about biotech.
The people in the chemical industry are buying oil stocks.
Right.
It's absolutely absurd. People don't understand their natural advantages,
Yeah.
and they don't use them. So that's bad, number one. But worse, number two, is if you don't think you're a good ice skater, or if you're convinced you're not a good cellist, you're not going to go out and try it. But people are buying stocks anyway.
Yeah.
They're not discouraged. They just think it's a gamble.
Yeah.
So therefore, they go forward and they bet on one stock for a week and a half, and it goes up, and they make $2 on it. Then they sell it, and they buy something else. When 3 years is over, all they've done is generate a lot of commissions, and they've probably lost money.
हम लोग जो एक इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स है, हम भी ये कॉमन नॉलेज यूज करके स्टॉक पिकिंग स्किल्स को अच्छे से एनहांस कर सकते हैं. पीटर लिंच ने दूसरा लेसन ये बोला है कि इन्वेस्टिंग इज एन आर्ट, एंड उन्होंने ये बोला है कि हिस्ट्री एंड फिलॉसफी हैज हेल्प्ड हिम अ लॉट इन द इन्वेस्टमेंट जर्नी रादर देन स्टैटिस्टिक्स. जो लोग हाईली ट्रेन्ड होते हैं टू क्वांटिफाई ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डिसएडवांटेजेस व्हेन इट कम्स टू लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टिंग इन द स्टॉक मार्केट. As far as technical knowledge is concerned, what he said was, आपने जो भी बचपन में मैथ्स पढ़ा था उतना काफी है for stock market investing.
There's always something to worry about, and the key organ in your body in the stock market is your stomach. It's not the brain. If you can add 8 and 8 and get reasonably close to 16, that's the only level of math you need to know. You don't know to need the area under the curve. Remember that quadratic equation and an integral calculus and the area under the curve. I mean, whoever cared what was under the damn curve? I mean, but you had to study this. You don't need this in the stock market. So all you have to know is you're going to see, it's always going to be scary. There's going to be always something to worry about. And you just have to forget all about it. Cut it all out and own good companies or own turnarounds. Study them and you'll do well.
यहाँ पे हम जैसे इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स को एक अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी होता है टू प्रैक्टिस दिस आर्ट इन अ बेटर वे एज कंपेयर टू प्रोफेशनल्स, बिकॉज प्रोफेशनल्स को एक बाउंड्री के अंदर काम करना होता है, and they can't take risk of breaching the boundary because उनका job and उनका reputation दोनों stake में होता है.
So in your own industry, you're going to see a lot of stocks, and that's what bothers me. There are good stocks out there looking for you, and people just aren't listening, and they're just not watching it. And they have incredible edges. People have big edges over me. They work in the aluminum industry. I see aluminum industry is coming down, inventory is coming down 6 straight months. They see demand improving. In America today, you know, it's hard to get an EPA permit for a bowling alley, never mind an aluminum smelter. So you know when aluminum gets tight, you just can't build 7 aluminum smelters. So when you see this coming, you can say, wait a second, I can make some money. When an industry goes from terrible to mediocre, the stock goes north. When it goes from mediocre to good, the stock goes north. And it goes from good to terrific, the stock goes north. There's lots of ways to make money in your own industry. You can be a supplier in the industry, you can be a customer. This thing happens in the paper industry, it happens in the steel industry. It doesn't happen every week, but if you're in some field, you'll see a turn, you'll see something in the publishing industry. These things come along, and it's just mind-boggling, people throw it away.
पीटर लिंच ने यहाँ पे एक टर्म यूज किया है, स्ट्रीट लैग. मतलब प्रोफेशनल और एक 10 बैगर के बीच में बहुत सारे ऑब्स्टेकल्स होते हैं. जब तक एक लार्ज इंस्टीट्यूशन एंड एनालिस्ट कोई स्टॉक रेकमेंड नहीं करता है, तब तक आके वो प्रोफेशनल्स उस स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करता है. एंड उन्होंने ये भी बोला है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रोफेशनल्स दे फाइंड रीजन व्हाई टू नॉट इन्वेस्ट इन द स्मॉल कंपनी, बिकॉज अगर वो स्टॉक ऊपर जाएगा देन दे विल हैव दैट रीजन टू टेल टू देयर क्लाइंट्स. उन्होंने तो ये भी बोला है कि व्हेन इट कम्स टू द पॉइंट ऑफ बाइंग दैट अननोन कंपनी व्हिच हैज चांस ऑफ मेकिंग लार्ज प्रॉफिट्स or an established company which has an assurance of losing small amount, many mutual fund manager, pension fund manager or corporate portfolio manager will select the established company. रीजन ये है कि उनको ना तो कोई क्लाइंट्स कुछ पूछेगा, ना ही उनके सीनियर्स कुछ पूछेगा जब वो स्टॉक आके परचेस करेंगे ऑफ एस्टैब्लिश्ड कंपनी. उल्टा वो क्लाइंट्स एंड सीनियर्स विल पॉइंट आउट व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद द एस्टैब्लिश्ड कंपनी. बट एट द सेम टाइम अगर कोई छोटे कंपनीज है और अननोन कंपनीज में वो प्रोफेशनल इन्वेस्ट करेगा, देन एवरीवन विल आस्क हिम व्हाई डिड यू इन्वेस्ट in that company.
7th grade class.
Yeah.
The teacher of that read my book, and my first book that you were talking about. You and I did a show on that
That's
in
right,
Washington.
right,
You remember that show?
right,
This is
right.
a long time ago. She read the book, and I said, if you made it through 5th grade math, you can do it in the stock market. She says, okay. She started teaching it in 7th grade, 7th grade class. These kids had to study companies. They had to look at their balance sheets to see if they're solvent. And they picked stocks. These stocks were up 69% over 2 years when the market was up only 20. And they picked stocks like Limited, they picked The Gap, they picked Walt, they understood these companies. They also picked IBM. I lost money on that too. I mean, everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody did, yeah.
But I'm saying this was a school, St. Agnes' School in Arlington, Mass. But in addition, in the decade of the 80s, there's 8,000 investment clubs. These are amateur, sort of average people just investing. These investment clubs, 62% of them, of these clubs, beat the market. In the decade of the 80s, only 25% of professionals beat the market.
The reason why he said that we can practice this art much better than the professionals is because हमारे पास ये opportunity होता है because we are all alone. We don't have any clients or senior to whom we need to answer any of their questions. So what happens is if you find any good company which has not been still evaluated by the stock market, then you have the chance to create 10 baggers because large institution and analyst के पास वो news अभी तक पहुंचा नहीं है. Third lesson ये है कि chapter 9 में Peter Lynch ने बोला है the kind of stocks which we need to definitely avoid. He has given few hints with which we can be aware of which stocks we need not invest into. Hint number 1 ये है कि we need to be cautious of the hottest stock. आपने न्यूज में बहुत बार ये सुना होगा कि this is the hottest stock of the year or this is the hottest industry of the year. So इन सब चीजों से we need to be very cautious. We need to do our fundamental analysis very well because ये stocks जितनी तेजी से ऊपर जाता है उतनी ही तेजी से नीचे भी आता है. So if we are fundamentally strong and we are aware कि हाँ इस कंपनी का growth prospect अच्छा है, then we can invest into it. If not, we need to stay away from it. Second hint उन्होंने ये बोला है कि we need to beware of next something. न्यूज में आपने बहुत सारी बार देखा होगा कि दिस इज द नेक्स्ट HDFC बैंक और दिस इज द नेक्स्ट टाइटन. इनफैक्ट पीटर लिंच ने ये भी बोला है कि जो गुड क्वालिटी स्टॉक्स है जिन स्टॉक से ये लोग कंपेयर कर रहे थे उन स्टॉक्स का भी परफॉर्मेंस नीचे आ जाता है व्हेन द कंपैरिजन स्टार्ट्स. थर्ड हिंट उन्होंने ये बोला है कि वी नीड टू अवॉइड डाइवर्सिफिकेशंस. बहुत सारे कंपनीज अपना फंड यूज करती है फॉर द फूलिश एक्विजिशंस. सो वी नीड टू बी कॉशियस ऑफ इट. अगर आपको कुछ दिख रहा है जहां पे एक कंपनी बहुत सारा एक्वायर कर रही है एंड दैट इज अ अनरिलेटेड बिजनेस, देन वी नीड टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दोस कंपनीज बिकॉज वो लोग अपना फंड्स यूज करती है एंड वो दो कंपनीज के बीच में सिनर्जीज भी नहीं होता है. उनके हिसाब से अगर कोई कंपनी किसी दूसरी कंपनी को एक्वायर कर रही है देन वो रिलेटेड बिजनेस होना चाहिए. अगर वो रिलेटेड बिजनेस नहीं है देन वी नीड टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम दी एक्वायरिंग कंपनी. हिंट नंबर 4 उन्होंने ये बोला है कि वी नीड टू बीवेयर ऑफ मिडिलमैन. अगर कोई कंपनी है जो हाईली डिपेंडेंट है ओनली ऑन फ्यू सेट ऑफ कस्टमर्स देन वी नीड टू बीवेयर ऑफ इट एंड वी नीड टू बी कॉशियस ऑफ इट बिकॉज अगर वो कंपनी जो कस्टमर है वो कैंसिल कर देती है अपना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट या वो आके अपना खुद का प्रोडक्शन लाइन स्टार्ट कर देती है देन इस मिडिलमैन का कोई भी रोल नहीं होता है. सो इन कंपनी से भी वी नीड टू स्टे अवे. हिंट नंबर 5 जो मुझे भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगा दैट इज ही सेड वी नीड टू बीवेयर ऑफ द स्टॉक्स विद द एक्साइटिंग नेम. जेरोक्स नाम तो सुना ही होगा. ऑथर के हिसाब से जितना डल और बोरिंग एक कंपनी का नाम है उतना ही लेस अट्रैक्टिव है वो कंपनीज इन द स्टॉक मार्केट एंड उतना ही ज्यादा आपका अपॉर्चुनिटी है टू डू फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस एंड गेट इट एज अर्ली एज पॉसिबल. अगर कंपनी का नाम बहुत ही फ्लैशी है देन इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स को देख के निवेश करना चाहिए. सो ये थे 5 की हिंट्स फॉर द स्टॉक्स व्हिच वी नीड टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम. Fourth lesson ये है कि we need to prepare a 2-minute drill.
The stock market for anyone is to know what you own. I'm amazed how many people own stocks. They would not be able to tell you why they own it. They couldn't say in a minute or less why they own it. Actually, if you really press them down, they'd say the reason I own this is the sucker's going up. I mean, that's the only reason. That's the only reason they own it. And if you can't explain, I'm serious, you can't explain to a 10-year-old in 2 minutes or less why you own a stock, you shouldn't own it. And that's true, I think about 80% of people that own stocks.
इसमें आपको बेसिकली एक एसे बनाना पड़ता है जहां पे आप 2 मिनट का मोनोलॉग बनाते हो ऑन द कंपनी विच यू हैव सेलेक्टेड. यू डिस्क्राइब एवरीथिंग अबाउट द कंपनी, द रिस्क्स एंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज विच इट हैज, द ग्रोथ प्रोस्पेक्ट विच इट हैज, द थ्रेट्स विच इज देयर इन द industry, the industry's growth prospect and how is the management team of the company. एक बार आप ये स्टोरी किसी को भी एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो then you are fully prepared to invest. इसमें आपके पास भी एक डॉक्यूमेंट स्क्रिप्ट होगा wherein आपको भी पता होगा reason why you are investing into this company एंड आप वो ट्रैक कर सकते हो वेदर द कंपनी इज परफॉर्मिंग बेस्ड ऑन योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस और नॉट. फिफ्थ लेसन ये है कि वी नीड टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम फ्यूचर्स, ऑप्शंस एंड शॉर्ट्स. पीटर लिंच ने क्लियरली ये बोला है कि this is impossible to win unless you are a professional trader.
What about all the criticism of derivatives and the impact they have had?
That's a little complicated for me. All I know is, I mean, I don't know about
complicated for you?
It's way over my head. I've never bought an option in my life. I never bought. Time's on your side when you own a stock. You know, I don't know about putting 3% down and buying a future and a strap and a straddle. That's way over my head. Can't deal with that.
Is that right?
Let somebody else deal with that. Yeah.
यहाँ पे इंडिया के वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट ब्रोकरेज हाउस ने भी यही बोला था कि 99% ऑफ पीपल हु ट्रेड लूज देयर मनी. पीटर लिंच ने तो ये भी बोला कि जो इन्वेस्टर्स डिससैटिस्फाइड है ऑफ गेटिंग रिच स्लोअर, they get attracted to the potential returns which the options, futures or shorts has, and ultimately they end up losing money. अगर आप एक स्टॉक परचेस करते हो, then what you do is you contribute to the growth prospects of the country. But options, futures and shorts में ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. You just finance all the money to the brokers by the way of commission. वैसे तो दोस्तों इस बुक में बहुत सारे वैल्यूएबल लेसन्स है which one can learn when he is interested into the stock market investing, and I would definitely recommend you to read this book if you want to get into the stock market investing. इस बुक को पढ़ने के बाद एक इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर को कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि yes, he can also invest on his own and he does not require any professional's help and he can learn all the things happening from his surrounding. दोस्तों अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आए तो प्लीज लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए एंड सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. एंड अगर आपको पार्ट 2 चाहिए जहां पे आई विल एक्सप्लेन अनदर 5 लेसन्स ऑफ दिस बुक, देन प्लीज कमेंट डाउन बिलो. एंड लेट्स मेक इंडिया फाइनेंशियली savvy. थैंक यू.